So how I met Colin was I was interviewing for the position of the CEO for United Way and had gone through a series of interviews, but was asked to meet with Colin Brown. So we were chit-chatting about Duke basketball and some sports. And so for me, it was a good icebreaker into meeting him.
The first time I actually met Colin, he may not remember this, he reached out his hand to shake my hand. And because I'm a hugger, I went in to hug him and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I did something wrong. So later that day, I called his really, really great friend, Dennis Smith, who is also a member of our board, and said, can you please apologize to Colin? I didn't mean to offend him by hugging him. Now, 10 years later, he's the best hugger ever.
We met through Jan Moran back in 2007. I was a brand new publisher. Colin was a brand new CEO. We had a lot of common business and civic interests, so it made sense for us to meet.
It was back in 2000 when I first joined AutoNation. I went to meet the larger-than-life legend, Jim Moran. It was a thrill to meet Jim. He was a true pioneer in automotive retailing. But in the same room, there was also an understated gentleman. Well, in that room, we were all understated compared to Jim. The person I'm speaking about is Colin Brown. As the meeting went on, what became clear was the remarkable relationship between Jim Moran and Colin Brown. Colin was the classic consigliere in the best sense, and I thought to myself, one day, Colin will lead this enterprise.
Describe Colin, I'd say when Colin talks, everyone listens.
A total visionary, keen business acumen, a great leader.
He is focused. Clearly, he is very aware of what he needs to do to make sure that JM Family Enterprises is able to succeed in the market.
If I were to describe Colin Brown in a few words, it would be super smart, driven to win, a long-term thinker and builder, decent and kind to the very core. He cares deeply about all who work for JM Family and the community.
Behind every decision is about what's good for the community, what's good for his associates, what's going to make an impact and a difference.
When it was not necessarily the norm, he chose to not only think about the economics of his business, but the economics of his associates by raising their minimum wage. So I think things like that allow us to know that Colin cares, that he is focused not only on himself and the company, but understanding that the company made up of associates is what truly makes the difference. And with that, I think that will continue to not only build his leadership, but definitely continue the longevity and the success of a JM Family Enterprises.
Obviously, Colin's in a complicated industry, and especially now, like what's going to be with the car business 10 years from now, 20, 50 years from now, even a couple years from now. So I think one of the things that really sets him apart is the ability to see the future and act now.
I think one of his defining moments was during the recession of 2008. It was probably the worst downturn any of us will ever see. The auto industry was hit harder than most. Because of Colin's leadership and the way he kept his team focused, both JM Family and Southeast Toyota came through that lean and mean. And when things turned around, they were right back on top.
Colin is committed to making the automotive industry and our communities better. And it all starts with service, commitment, and patriotism for our great country.
One thing that I think comes up all the time is his generosity and his care for South Florida and for the community.
I think when we talk about legacy, definitely he's on that list of Broward County legacy builders. I don't think there are many nonprofits that can say that they have not been touched by his leadership.
They are definitely the company, and Colin's the person to turn to when something transpires in the community and there's really a need for action.
Colin gives back through the community primarily through JM Families. And as most of you know, their dedication is far and wide. They do more and give more to charitable organizations than anyone else in the community. They have a long legacy of giving. And with Colin's leadership, through thick and thin, they haven't missed a beat.
And what I've found is that Colin is very generous, he's focused, and he cares. And I believe that he is able to really give of his time, his talent, and his treasure, because he truly understands that in order to ensure the fact that we have strong companies, we have to have strong communities, and he lives by that.
I was honored back in 2011 to hand Colin the Sun Sentinel's Excalibur Award that year for outstanding business leadership. In 2014, Colin was honored again, this time by the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance for their Outstanding Business and Civic Leader of the Year. And here we are this morning, honoring Colin again for FAU's Outstanding Business Leadership for 2017. That's long-term commitment.
Colin believes in the American dream, the notion that we all need to do our part to make the community a better place to work and live. No matter what we do, we all need to support a greater good and take pride in that effort. Colin is very proud of the work his son Seth does in the service of our country in the U.S. Army. And at the same time, Colin leads his team's effort for the Urban League, United Way, and other charitable organizations. Colin sets the bar high in everything he does. It's up to us to follow.